Okay, example 2. In each of the following, state if the information was obtained by census or survey. So, a school uses a roll to count the number of students absent each day. So, the roll, when we mark the roll every day in school, do you think that's a survey or a census? So, my answer is that it's a census because it's taking the whole population, all the students in the school. The television ratings in which 2,000 families complete a questionnaire on the programs they watch over a 1 week period. So that's because it's only 2,000 families, that's going to be a survey. A battery manufacturer tests every 100th battery of the production line. So it's not testing all of them, it's only testing every 100th battery. So this is going to be a survey. A teacher records examination marks of her class. So her class, that's me. When I do that, I'm taking a census because you are my whole population, targeted population, okay? Questionnaires. So questionnaires have questions, of course, that can be open or closed questions. Open question is a question with more than one possible answer, and closed question is a question with one possible solution, okay? Closed questions are easier to analyze. So we always, when we're doing a survey, we try always to have closed questions. In fact, only closed questions should go in a survey. And here it has a tip that says none of the above or don't know should be avoided because it gives the respondent a way out. In other words, let's say that you're asking, what is my favorite flavor of ice cream? And you're giving me three options. You're giving me rainbow, that are Valentina's and Matias' favorite flavor, vanilla, and chocolate. Let's say that you're only giving me those three options. And then you give me a fourth option that says none of the above. Or yes, none of the above. So if you do that, let's say that I select none of the above, you have no idea then what is my favorite flavor. But if you take that one out and you're testing because you want to know, you're going to be selling ice cream in school, and you want to know which one of those three that are the ones that you have available is going to be my favorite, then I will say chocolate. I go with chocolate because above all those three, I prefer chocolate. So then you're getting information. So it's better when you're doing questionnaires to leave none of the above and don't know out of your options of answers. Okay, let's look at these examples. So we have to say if they're open or closed. So what is your favorite city in Australia? So there are certain numbers of cities in Australia. So we can think that this is a closed question because the options are limited. But to be honest, I don't have a list of those ones, and I think it's going to be a very long list. So that's why this one is open. Okay, if I answer this question, it's going to be open because I can get all sorts of answers. What are your plans for the weekend? Again, all sorts of possible answers, so it's going to be open. Do you like Chinese food? Can be yes, no, sometimes, or you can say yeah. So this one you have certain options, so this is going to be a closed question. Have you been to New Zealand? Yes or no? That's your option. So close. What sport do you enjoy playing the most? Again, this one is open. Okay? Okay. This example 4 says 10 students were asked the open question, what do you dislike about your school uniform? These were the responses. So we have here 10 responses. This exercise is asking you to classify the responses into categories to identify the two main reasons given. I'm going to ask you to pause the video, do this one. I'm not going to do it. I'm not going to answer it. The answer is in your textbook. And the reason why I'm doing that is because I also want you to, go to your textbook. Here it is. That's 12.2. Read it. You don't have to take notes because you're taking notes of the video right now. And I want you to, here is that question, work example 2. And if you click here to expand, you will see the answer and the reasoning. And if you don't understand anything of that, you let me know and I will explain it further to you. Wonderful. Okay, planning a questionnaire. To prepare a good questionnaire, you should keep the following points in mind. The questions should flow smoothly from one to the next. You should have an introduction. Try to avoid jargon, slang, and abbreviations. Do not ask questions that are vague or ambiguous. Avoid bias and emotional language. So, for example, if I ask you, isn't that right, girls, that your favorite subject is maths? So that's what I'm doing. I'm almost giving you the answer that I want to hear. So that's bias and emotional language. Avoid double-barrel questions. So double-barrel questions refers to when you're asking two different things. So if I ask you, um, mm, what do you like to do the most at night? And which is your favorite TV show? So I'm asking you two different things. I'm just assuming that maybe your favorite things to do at night is watch TV, but that might be not the case. And I'm also asking you in the same question, which one is your favorite TV show? So that's a double barrel question. Do not ask leading questions is similar to avoid bias and emotional language. Make sure your questions are capable of being answered by your respondents. Yes, so you have to take into account who are you asking the question and if they are going to be able to answer that question. And avoid questions with double negatives. So, and the last one, at the conclusion, thank the respondent for answering. So if we look at this example, identify the areas of concern with the following questions. Then rewrite each one of the in the meaning clear, unbiased, and understandable. So, don't you agree? So, again, when you say, don't you agree? I'm already doing a bias question that the school uniform should be changed. So, that's the problem. You're doing a bias question and you have here emotional language. So, a good way of asking this question is, do you think that the school uniform should be changed? Didn't you know that students are not allowed to go to the school canteen at morning tea? So I get confused reading this in English. So this is a double negative. Didn't you know that students are not allowed? It's confusing. So you have to think, oh, so maybe a better way of asking this is, do you know that students are not allowed? Or are you aware of the regulation that students are not allowed? Okay? Those poor distraught animals in the zoo should be running wild and not restricted in cages, don't you think? So biased language, emotional language here. How do you ask here? Do you think that school and that zoo animals, sorry guys, that zoo animals um, should be free or should be running wild and not have that end? Have one of those questions. You either have or running wild or should not be restricted in cages. Otherwise, you have a double barrel question. And how old are you? So this seems like a close question, but people usually prefer to answer this in brackets. So it's better if you say, how old are you? And then you say, okay, from, let's say, you know that you're starting from 10 to 20 and 20 to 21 to 30 or whatever is important for you to make that brackets. But every time that you're asking for age, it's better if you do it in brackets like this. Selecting samples. When a sample is selected from a population, you have to put a lot of attention on the composition of the sample because you need that sample is as close as possible to the population. So that's what we were talking about before here. When we were talking about here, that sample that we select here, that blue sample that I have here, has to be representative of all the population that I have, all the targeted population. So for example, when we were talking about that example that said that they were asking 1/3 of the men on the stadium, if my target population is all the people in the stadium and then I'm only asking men, then I'm not getting a very good representation of the total population. I have to have children and women and all ages. So it has to be representative of the whole population. One of the simplest ways to select a reliable sample is by using random sampling technique. So what does random mean? Means that is selected randomly. I don't know how to say this in English. In Spanish means al azar, which means that you don't know what the outcome is going to be. It's going to be like, maybe if I explain it with an example, that will be easier. So let's look at this example. As part of the quality control program, staff members at Perplex Puzzles select 5 puzzles. So I'm only going to select 5 puzzles. Let me just highlight that because that's important. So it's going to select 5 puzzles, okay, from a batch of 50 coming out of production line. So actually, how many samples is the targeted population? Is 50. Use the following table, random numbers, to select the 5 puzzles to be tested. So this is a table with random numbers from 0 to 100, I think. And they're saying, how can I use this one to select 5 puzzles from the batch of 50? So what I'm going to do is I'm going to say, okay, I'm going to say that I have, like, number 1 is going, oh, no, this is highlighted. So number 1 is going to be if it was puzzle 1. Puzzle 1. And then number 2, it will be puzzle 2, and so forth, blah, 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 until I have, if I get number 50, I'm going to go, that is going to be puzzle 50. Okay, and I only have to select 5 puzzles, okay? But I have to do it randomly. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to, and you'll see how this is random. I'm going to start at any point that I want to start here. And I'm going to do it. I'm going to close my eyes and I'm going to say, okay, I'm going to start here. Good. I started in 70. Because 70 is greater than 50, then I'm not going to use it. And then I'm going to count every 5 numbers, and that's the one that I'm going to select. So 70, I don't select it because it's not a number, it's not an option. But then I go 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 75. I'm not going to use it. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 88. I'm not going to use it. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Okay, 16. So that's one of the ones that I'm going to use then. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 30. Beautiful. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 87. I'm not going to use it. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 74. I'm not going to use it. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 58. I'm not going to use it. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Nope. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Nope. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Nope. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. 47. Yes. Good. So I have 16. I'm going to use puzzle 16, 30, and 47. Then 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Nope. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Yes, 21. I'm going to use it. Then 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Beautiful. And 1. So if I use my pen here, according to the random way that I selected these ones, I'm going to test 1, 70. No, 70. No, sorry. Oh, I want to delete. Okay. 16. I'm going to delete this one in a minute. 30. 47, 21. Okay, so I'm going to select 1, 16, 47, 30, and 21. And those are the 5 random puzzles that I'm going to use in order to get, to test if those 50 puzzles coming out of the production line are of good quality. Okay, girls, I hope you find this useful. Do your exercises in Jack Plus, and we'll talk later. Bye.